Well, good evening and hello. Welcome back to the Hockey Writers Live. It is episode 5. It is October the 28th, 2020. I am your host, Mark Scheig, and it's great to have you with us. And I know tonight a lot of Columbus Blue Jackets fans are going to be joining us in here because last week we talked about the OHL and the Flint Firebirds and what was going on. This week we're honored to have a great voice in the American Hockey League join us to start out tonight. And that is the voice of the Cleveland Monsters, Tony Brown. Hi, Tony. Welcome to the show.
Great to be with you, Mark. It's an honor for me to be here. I am just happy for any excuse to talk hockey right now.
Oh, we all are. Anything that we can do to just kind of take our minds off the world, have a little bit of normalcy, and especially talk hockey. We're not going to turn down that opportunity.
Certainly not. Looking forward
Tony,
to it.
Yeah, first off, how are you doing?
Hanging in there, as best we all can, just kind of getting through day by day, just like everyone else. My wife, Katie, and I and the cat are kind of hunkered down, and we're going back into the office a couple of times a week now. And, it's a long uphill sort of fight we all have against this virus. But, I definitely just feel every day like there's a lot of blessings to count. So I'm trying to do that as frequently as possible.
Yeah, it really is, and it doesn't matter what role we have. We all have different roles in the hockey world, but we all have a role to play. And if we all do that little extra bit, our own responsibility, we all can be back quicker and hopefully bring back a little bit of normalcy. And just thinking about how surreal this is. I mean, we're at the end of October. You're normally into your AHL season. The hockey world is going all over the place, and yet there's outside of a little bit in Europe here and there, there's just no hockey going on. Can you just describe, Tony, how surreal is it that we're sitting at home on a Wednesday night when we normally would have in the midst of a hockey season?
Yeah, it is quite wild when you sort of stop and think about it. I mean, this is the first fall autumn season in the last decade, literally, that I haven't been, at least, in some sort of training camp or on into the start of the season by now. All those things in the hockey calendar that you can set your watch to, especially when you get into the American League, like development camp and rookie camp and the preseason tournaments and training camp, all those things that sort of lead into the season. None of that has happened. And
Right.
So it's kind of odd on two fronts. It's odd that we're not playing games right now just in and of itself, but it's also odd that whenever the season, would potentially begin, we're not going to have all those normal things that sort of get us ready for it. So we're all just kind of waiting and hoping that collectively we can all figure out a way to do this safely and get back to playing hockey as soon as possible. But it definitely is weird when you allow yourself to stop and think about it. So I've tried to not reflect every day on something like that because it's strange and we all miss it.
And that there are fans out there that are looking for any kind of content whatsoever, the social media presence or maybe games on TV, maybe videos. Like, what are the Monsters doing to continue to produce content or even still try to engage fans during, this pandemic?
Yeah, Mark, it's interesting that those efforts have kind of evolved over the course of the pandemic. Right when our season was suspended, we, like many teams, were doing a lot of things sort of looking back, looking at top games from the season or maybe the last couple of years and highlighting those, or maybe doing interviews with players and generating content that way. But now as time has gone on, we're sort of looking down at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse with the Monsters, but also with the Cleveland Cavaliers and also with our sort of sibling organization, the Canton Charge in the NBA G League. We're looking more to what's ahead now. So that is, on the Monster side, we've had some awesome Grow the Game street hockey events that have been able to safely bring people back into the field house and get, sticks in the hands of kids. And we had a really cool girls Grow the Game clinic just for young ladies in Northeast Ohio. Had a lot of great help from Brian McLaughlin, two-time Olympic silver medalist with Team USA. So we've had some cool events, and now it's sort of about always with the emphasis being safety of everybody involved. But it started to transition more to what's the upcoming season going to look like, and maybe what things we can do to get people excited. And what's good is we've had, as I'm sure we'll get to here in a minute, lots of developments. We've had signings of players at the AHL level. We've had Columbus signing a number of players, including a number of their restricted free agents. So there have been some hockey things to talk about, and there have been some news items for the Monsters broadcast, all those sorts of things. But it's been nice to sort of turn the focus at some point from this crazy ending to the season that we all had in the middle of March, and then sort of look forward now to what's our game, what's our league, what's everything going to look like in this new universe of public health being the number one emphasis.
That's it. And it's right. We can look forward now because in the Monsters world, like you said, there's a lot going on, and we can actually kind of jump into it right now. You just mentioned some of the signings. Like, how cool is the Karsten Meyer story? For him to be at Miami, then to go to Ohio State, and now he's a Cleveland Monster. So just when you saw that news, just what was your first impression? And then what can Monsters fans expect from him?
Yeah, I'm really excited to have Karsten on board this year on an AHL contract. I mean, you talk about, we've had some guys over the years that have been sort of hometown favorites. Trent Vogelhuber comes to mind, Cleveland born, Columbus raised, drafted by the Jackets when the draft was being held in Columbus. And Karsten Meyer kind of reminds me of that, just in the sense that it's amazing that a player, with the exception of his USHL days in Kearney, Nebraska, he's played his entire career in the state of Ohio and, Miami and OSU, like you said, and being drafted by the Jackets, then signing with Cleveland. Fans really respond to that. And so I'm really excited for them. And I'm excited for myself. I've not met him or worked with him before, but just, somebody that understands what Columbus and Cleveland and Ohio hockey is all about. Really looking forward to working with him this year. And in terms of on the ice, I mean, the Blue Jackets were obviously high on him at one point there, and making him a draft choice. And he's a guy off the wing that can score, and he's looking to make a splash in his transition to the pro game. Very productive offensive player at Ohio State, helping them to a regular season Big Ten championship and all that good stuff. So he's got plenty of tools and good size, and just looking forward to, like I said, getting to know him as a player and as a person, and getting back to the rink and exploring some of these great storylines we have with him and with all our guys.
Absolutely. And another forward too that I was really curious in, fifth AHL team already, someone who you've seen on the other side play for Rockford, that's Tyler Sakura. From what you've seen of him, what can Monsters and Blue Jackets fans expect?
Well, first of all, I'm excited that there's only one Sakura, because normally when we are playing Rockford, there's Dylan and there's Tyler, and most of my night is trying to figure out which one is which. And it's like, but no, a player that comes with just an absolute fantastic reputation. I've talked to other broadcasters that have worked with him and just other folks around the league, and they all say this is a guy that is going to come in and he's going to be a leader in the dressing room. He's going to be a leader with the off-ice efforts, with the community stuff. Not to mention, he's a guy with 200 plus AHL games under his belt. And like you said, some diverse experience. He was a leader in his college days at Dartmouth. He's been a leader at the American League level in the leadership group with Rockford the last couple of years. Definitely a useful player offensively, and another just great building block on an AHL contract that is just going to be I think the Monsters have a lot of those right now. Just really solid pieces of a foundation that sort of the team can flesh out around. I think it's a great signing, and anytime you bring in an experienced guy that can contribute offensively, you got to feel like you're doing a good job. And Chris Clark, our general manager, is doing a heck of a good job acquiring guys like that.
Yeah, I mean, taking over for Billy Zito, it seems like he's really building something. Not only is he building up front, he's also building on the blue line, and a couple of very interesting players. Gavin Bayreuther is one, and someone I'm familiar with who used to play with the Owen Sound Attack, and Thomas Schmitz, who played with Springfield last year and was a former pick of the Florida Panthers. I feel like that there's something special going on with the blue line. I know Gabriel Carlson could compete in Columbus. Adam Clendenning is on the depth chart. It could be a huge piece for the Monsters. Just how good is that blue line looking all of a sudden, Tony?
Yeah, it looks fantastic. I think really the entire depth chart, if you can project out who might be assigned from Columbus, which is something that we're always hesitant to do. Every single one of those guys on NHL contracts, and I know you mentioned some guys on American League contracts, but Bayreuther, for instance,
Yeah.
he's going to have every opportunity to make the team up in Columbus. And so we don't want to sound like we're expecting certain guys to be in Cleveland. I hope every single one of those guys makes their NHL dreams come true. But with that disclaimer, I definitely remember Bayreuther from his time in the Dallas Stars organization with Texas. He's a depth signing from a Columbus perspective, but a high-end American Hockey League player. And Thomas coming over from Springfield, another guy, experienced, can step in and play. And Dylan Simpson, let's not forget about him, back for his third year with the Monsters on an AHL deal for the first time. I mean, these are reliable, talented, just steady players that are really going to anchor that defensive core that also, like you said, has some really high-end guys. I mean, Clendening is, simply put, one of the most productive defensemen offensively in the American Hockey League, and we know he can play at the next level. He's stepped in and played well for Columbus in recent years. And then Gabe Carlson, he's a guy that really flies under the radar. And I was so glad to see his 2-year extension come through, because he's still only 23 years old. And people forget, we're talking about a first-round draft choice here, and a player that, it had some growing pains, whatever. But last season, he was just so impressive. And I saw it as a really big sort of bounce back year for him. And I'm really rooting for Gabe, who's a great guy, also just to get that next step and to break through, because he has everything you could want. He's 6'5", just steady. And I think he's got a really, really bright future, especially considering that he's been around for a while and he's still only 23. So there is a lot to like in that Monsters defensive core right now. And that's not even mentioning Wyatt Newpower out of UConn, a good young player. And of course, Mr. Bernie coming over from Switzerland, potentially. I don't know. That's been something I've read about. So there are, who knows what wrenches COVID has thrown into these plans, but there are certainly a lot of guys that I'm excited to watch play for the first time, some of them, and to see how this dressing room comes together.
Yeah, and so about quarter after the hour here, if you're just tuning in, this is the Hockey Writers Live. This is episode number 5. I am your host, Mark Scheig, and we are honored to be joined tonight by the voice of the AHL's Cleveland Monsters, Tony Brown. And one player, Tony, I wanted to ask you about, because I feel like that within that locker room, this is a player that gets so much respect, but I don't think a lot of people on the outside realize his importance, and that's Brad Thiessen. The team ended up signing him again. Can you just speak to how important a player like that is, especially to the young goaltending that's been with the Monsters?
It's just an unbelievably valuable resource to have a guy like Brad Thiessen around, especially when you're trying to develop younger goaltenders. He simultaneously, let's remember, he's still, even though we call him Coach Brad, he's still here on a contract and can step in, as we've seen him do so many times over the years, and play when he's needed to. But taking on this added dimension of being the sort of daily goaltending coach the last couple of seasons for the Monsters, it's allowed him to sort of, and this is just from knowing him and working with him for 5 years, but to me, it's allowed him to sort of, make this transition a bit more gentle in his career. Maybe coaching is something he wants to explore. Well, he's getting a great dose of that with some really highly touted young goaltenders these last couple of seasons in Matiss Kivlenieks and the Wayne train, Veini Vehvilainen, and they lean on him too, just to have that voice of somebody who has, sure, played in the NHL, but also just been a great respected pro in the American League. And he's, had some time in the ECHL. He's just seen and experienced quite a bit in his career. And so to be that sort of, to be a part of a goaltending group, but not be a competitive element in that goaltending group, there's some sort of sweet spot there that Thiessen is kind of hitting, I think. And I, for one, am just happy to have him back. He's one of the best guys, and he's awesome to twist his arm and get him up into the booth on a random off night when he's not playing. And we've sprinkled him in on TV the past couple of years too. So he's versatile, that's for sure. Yeah. Coach Brad, and we're happy to have him back. really looking forward to, his time in Cleveland and my time in Cleveland have also overlapped exactly. So it's going to be fun to have him back this year.
Yeah, and it's funny too. Those that aren't familiar, don't follow him on Twitter. His Twitter handle is quite something, at @uglygoalie39. I mean, you can tell that he's got a little bit of a personality too. So
Yeah, I asked him about that one time years ago, and he said, just trying to be descriptive, So
goalies are the best. They really are. So Tony, a couple other players that Columbus just recently re-signed, and players that you have seen up close and personal yourself, that I'm curious where you think that, how they've done and where you think they might go. Just a couple quick hitters. So first one, Cole Sherwood. Where do you think, what have you seen of him?
Yeah, Cole is, of course, an awesome story for the Blue Jackets organization to have a local kid make his NHL debut for the Jackets. So that was a really cool thing a couple of years ago when that happened. And, I think he is at the AHL level, has everything he needs to be just a dominating force and trying to, take that next step just like everybody is and make it into the Columbus lineup full time. I mean, I think he's got as good a chance as anyone. He's a good skater. He's certainly, one thing fans know about Cole is he is not in any way, shape, or form timid in the physical dimension, which has really served him well. And I think he's a player that really sky's the limit. And he gets to the front of the net. He does things not every player is want to do. He'll go to the, got to get some cliches in there, right, Mark? I mean, to get back into form for the season, but he goes to all those dirty areas on the ice, and he's just a really sort of energetic presence in the lineup, and noticeable whether you're down at ice level watching from the bench or if you're upstairs. From my perspective, he's got an impact on the game. So I'm looking for a big season out of Cole this year, and hopeful for that. And right now he's on loan over in the KHL, and just a guy with a lot of tools from my perspective.
Yeah. And two other players too that the Blue Jackets just re-signed as well to one-year deals, to two-way deals, Calvin Turcoff and Kevin Stenley. I know last year had to have been a strange year from your perspective, in the booth, just knowing that virtually a lot of the regulars that were on the Cleveland Monsters not only spent time in Columbus, but spent significant time and important time in Columbus. And so they had a chance to, play in the AHL and get some development that way. But now there's going to be some competition, assuming no injuries. Cleveland's set up to be really good, and Turcoff and Stenley might have a shot to be back in Cleveland, depending on how things work out.
Yeah, it's almost, after last year, I almost forgot what this group of players would look like if they weren't decimated by a dozen plus injuries, because it was just such a fact of life last season. You said it, both these guys got big looks last year. I mean, Turk at the end of the season got 3 games up with Columbus. It was a big deal. His dad came over to from Europe to see him play. It was a really great thing for him. And of course, Stens was up there 30 plus games. He spent almost as much time in Columbus as he did in Cleveland last year. 2 different players. Stenlund, of course, 6'4" centerman, has that big shot, just that great release that just catches your eye. That's to have that sort of skill set in the American Hockey League would be something that certainly the Monsters would benefit from. Although I think Kevin has, a real shot, just like all these guys. I think it'll be an interesting training camp now that a lot of these players that are sort of on the periphery in the last maybe 3-ish years in the prospect pool for Columbus, so many of them now have seen time, at least some time at the NHL level. So I think it'll be very competitive amongst amongst this group. Throw Sherwood and a bunch of other guys into that mix too. So that's Stenlund, and then Turcoff. Last year was really big for him. If you remember, 2 years back, he was limited to just 2 points in 20-some appearances. He just dealt with injuries all year. But last year, to get back 26 points, that's right around his career high. I think he's maybe a point shy of his career high there. 9 goals for him last year, 53 games, just emerged or reemerged, I guess you could say, after a tough season 2 years ago. And he's playing right now too, over in his native Switzerland. And, great to see that extension for him. And yeah, just a guy that is really hard to play against, and was a big scorer in junior. And I think, getting onto the wing a little bit. He's played some center, played some wing. I think, just last year was a key year for him. So I'm looking for, after a big step taken last year, another big step. Both of those guys are, great players and good dudes. And so all the best of luck to them to make the roster in Columbus. But it won't be a sad situation for Monsters fans. Let's put it that way, if they were assigned to Cleveland.
Absolutely right. It'd be exciting stuff for sure. So it's 8:22. We've got time for a couple more questions with Tony here. Tony, I wanted to ask you about Mike Eves, somebody that the Monsters brought in. I just feel like that he's a little bit of a calming influence. Just, my initial impression of him, it just seemed like that he just brings something to the team. Just what have you just been your early impressions of him, and what can we expect moving forward from him?
Yeah, it was a really fun first year working with Ever. He's a guy that I'm from Minnesota. He's, spent a lot of time in Minnesota, Wisconsin, the upper Midwest. There's a little bit of just broadcaster to coach, maybe a little bit of understanding there background wise right away, which is always fun and helpful and stuff. Just a consummate professional, a great guy to work with. And the thing that comes through with him is how much he cares about each and every individual person in that locker room. Yes, about their development. Yes, about their future in the game of hockey. And that's the players, but it's all the staff too. It's his coaching staff. Everybody just knows that if you need something, Mike is there for you. And, great to work with, just from a broadcaster's perspective, a lot of Eves-isms last year. I look forward to many more of those. And we did a little video thing just as a get to know coach at the Traverse City rookie tournament prior to last year that we called eavesdropping, little toss a mic on him on the bench. And that yielded a lot of instant classic dialogue. So looking forward to another good year, but really just a great guy, fun to work with. And certainly made my life easy. And as a broadcaster, it's just nice when a coach understands what the goal is. And, it's been a lot of fun to work with him.
Yeah, definitely good stuff. So Tony, what, we know the big news that happened today was the league announcing a potential put it in pencil February 5th start. Like, we hope that happens. Now, obviously a lot has to play itself out, but just in your mind, I know, it could be pretty speculative here, but what could a season look like if it does start? I mean, could we potentially have fans at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse on February 5th? And just what do you see in your mind?
Yeah, Mark, it's a game, sort of a mental game that we play like every single day, thinking about what this could look like. And the bottom line is it's not really worth speculating because so much depends on other information. First of all, the only real goal is safety for everybody involved. That's the players, that's the staff, that's, the fans though, more than anything else. So, we have to be in a situation that's safe, and that's dictated by so many other variables that to sit here and say it might look like this or this or this, it's not the most useful exercise. What I can say though is, one thing that every single fan out there that's dying for hockey, that wants hockey back, one thing that they can do is they can wash their hands and they can distance and they can wear a mask in public and they can do their small part. Like each and every one of us as individuals has to do our small part to get the numbers back down to a place that, is something we can work with in the live event industry. So just all the fans, you can help us by doing those things every day. In terms of what a season would look like, I don't know. I mean, all I know is that there are a lot of people that work in this business, and there are a lot of people that care deeply about this business on a personal and a professional level. And we all just want to get back to work, but we want to do it safely, and we have to do it safely. So that's the ongoing quest, and the announcement today. I mean, I'm excited. Just, this is the sort of information that us staff members hear just the same as everybody out there, fans and stuff. And when I at least see a date that we can look forward to on paper, that's more encouraging than to not have that information, if that makes sense. So, I think whatever this season looks like, I know for a fact We will all be so happy when it happens, and it will be safe. And those are the two most important things to me.
Couldn't agree with that anymore. We all can't wait to be back to, whatever we're doing, whatever piece we can contribute to the hockey world. Just got one final question for you, Tony. Here, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about the new radio affiliation that the Monsters have on Fox Sports 1350, The Gambler. It's a new. I know it's based out of Akron, but can you maybe describe? Will that allow you to do some more pre or post game as compared to what it used to be, or just what can fans expect from the new affiliation?
Yeah, well, thank you for asking, Mark. I mean, it's definitely an exciting thing for me and for our entire broadcasting department. It's part of a larger partnership that the Cavs have with iHeartRadio, and the Gambler is a sports station, and we have loved being on Alt 99.1, another member of the iHeart family. They had experienced a format change, which is something that happens in radio quite a bit. And so we knew we'd be somewhere else heading into next season. But I think it's an ideal situation for our fans, to be on the AM dial, to be on a station that has some local programming, some local sports programming. That gives us an opportunity to build relationships. I know Mark Bishop, the Munchman himself, the one and only, is there on the Gambler, and we look forward to spending some time with him throughout the years. Somebody I've had the great pleasure of working with a bit during my time in Cleveland. But really, this is good news. It's a dedicated home for our listeners on the AM dial, and it's Fox Sports Radio. It's what you want, and we are really excited about it. And I just hope sometime soon we can have some games on the schedule that we can direct people to, and we can unveil it. But I look forward to working on not just the partnership with 1350, but just with our great crew of engineers and sort of building this new era of the Monsters broadcast. It's going to be a lot of fun, and really excited to be on the Gambler.
Absolutely. Well, Tony, this has been awesome. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk some hockey with us. And fans, if you want to follow him on Twitter, make sure you do. It's at Tony Brown PxP. Tony, thank you so much for the time tonight.
Mark, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. And to everybody watching at home, stay safe and stay healthy. Do your part. We can all do this together and get back to hockey ASAP.
Amen. Thanks a lot, Tony. Appreciate it.